Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience as we get settled up here. It is 7:03. We will call the meeting to order. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the Rockwood Board of Education meeting. Before we begin, we would like to extend our condolences to the family, friends, students, staff, and everyone who knew and loved Eureka High sophomore Abigail Jazerski, who passed away suddenly last week. Our thoughts and prayers are certainly with you all. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the district, hear reports about our progress, and listen to the community on important issues. We would like to thank the administrative team and all the staff and students at Marquette High School for being gracious hosts for our meeting this evening. We want to remind all of our visitors that we expect the audience to remain civil and respectful and at all times as the board conducts its business. We want everyone to have the ability to see and have the ability to hear the business of the district and reports presented. If you have a sign, we ask that you keep it down low so you're not obstructing the views of others. We appreciate your cooperation and that you took the time to attend tonight's meeting. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes. Next, could I have a motion to approve Board of Education meeting minutes for February 1st, 2024?
So moved.
So, second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That also passes. And could I have a motion to approve Board of Education special meeting minutes for February 9th, 2024?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes. Next up, we do this a little bit out of order when we invite students to come and speak at our meetings. Tonight, we are happy to have another wonderful COPE presentation that is focusing on community service student presentations. This is part 2. We previously heard from part 1. And it looks like Dave Cobb is coming up to the mic to introduce some of our schools in the order that they will be presenting. So I will turn it over to Dr. Cobb.
Thank you. Good evening. It's my pleasure to introduce the principal of Utah Valley. She's here to introduce the team of students and staff who do an amazing job with the service learning project. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Dana Thorne.
Good evening. I am Dana Thorne, proud principal at Utah Valley, and I am here with a couple of our 5th graders who just wrapped up a service project and very proud of the work that they've done, and I'm going to turn it over to Josie and Mia.
Service Learning Project, Sock Drive, by the Utah Valley Elementary Student Leadership Council.
Why did the sock drive begin at Utah Valley?
The sock drive began at Utah Valley as a 4th grade passion project. Why do we collect socks?
Socks are the #1 requested items for people in need. Unfortunately, many families do not have access to new clean socks, especially in the winter months. When is it?
We hold the sock drive each winter, and this year it was held from January 29th to February 8th. This year we collected 493 pairs of socks.
Over the past 4 years, we have collected over 3,500 pairs. Who does the sock drive benefit?
All sock donations are given to a local organization making a difference. This is a small nonprofit that helps the homeless and those in need in the Metro East area.
New, the Team Alec Forever Foundation Crazy Sock Drive. When is it?
Crazy Sock Day is to collect donations to Team Alec Forever Foundation on Thursday, February 8th, the last day of the sock drive. What is Team Alec Forever?
A local St. Louis organization that helps families of children with illnesses. Donation equals wear crazy socks.
Bring any amount to donate and receive a sticker to wear your crazy socks.
This year, we collected $173 for the Team Alec Forever Foundation. Thank you.
Nice job, girls. I have two questions, if I could ask them really quickly. Mia and Josie, two questions. One, are either of you wearing crazy socks? No. And two, Josie, who's your favorite board member? That's my daughter.
I think there's a little bias going on here.
I hope there is, yes. Dr. Jansen.
Good evening. I'm proud to be here tonight to share some of the wonderful things that's happening in our secondary schools. We have tons of our secondary schools doing lots to give back to our community, but tonight we're going to hear from a group from Marquette High School and from LaSalle Springs. So I'll introduce Dr. Wackerly to share and introduce our folks from Marquette High School.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here this evening. Our three presenters that are going to be presenting tonight, as well as their research team that has been preparing this for the last couple of months, are all members of our AFJ ROTC program here at Marquette. Our ROTC students do a ton of work just throughout their program. And tonight they're going to highlight some of the things that they work on here at our school, but they also wanted to showcase a lot of the community service activities that are happening in other organizations throughout our school. So I'm very proud of the work that they've done. They've put together an amazing presentation that they're going to share with you this evening. And without further ado, I would like to bring up our student presenters, Grant, Lily, and Landon.
Good evening, Rockwood Board of Education members. My name is Cadet Grant Schuth, and joining me tonight are Cadets Lily Munch and Landon Boucher. Air Force Junior ROTC is a program established by Congress to teach life skills and leadership to high school students. Our curriculum focuses on developing self-confidence and emphasizing the importance of service before self. Our three core values are integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. Because service before self is a core component of our organization, we asked to present to you tonight on all that our cadets have done. Over the past semester, our cadets have served over 2,000 community service hours, which has resulted in an economic impact of over $35,000. Due to our 97% participation rate, this averages out to about 35 hours per volunteer. Now, not only is service a core component of ROTC, it is also important to Marquette and the Rockwood School District. Mission statements are a key component of any organization. They help guide us towards a common objective. As you can see, both Rockwood and Marquette's mission statements are on the projector there. Both emphasize the importance of personal and academic development of all. Now, I'd like to share how Marquette is inspiring, challenging, and encouraging through the act of community service. Over the past semester, Marquette's over 23 student-ran service organizations have held over 83 different events. These different organizations include about a third of the Marquette student population, which is around 700 different students. These different events have made up about 11,000 community service hours, which has resulted in an economic impact of over $132,000. These different organizations have an average of about 20 hours per volunteer. Now, I'd like to let Lily explain what we have done this past semester.
Okay, so serving others is always at the core of being a leader. And as we learn in JROTC, service starts at home. This semester, we've had over 26 projects dedicated to serving just our school. An example of this is with the shortage of custodians, students have been helping to clean up their school. whether that's been through cleaning up after lunch, weekly hallway wipe downs, outdoor campus cleanups, and doing setup and takedown for major events. Students have also been helping out at their Marquette Pantry in their various food and needs drives, and they've helped enable the academic success of their peers through multiple tutoring programs. The students here really strive to make their school a cleaner and more positive learning environment. In the past 4 months, we've had over 38 different projects dedicated to serving our local communities. We've helped out veterans and the elderly through various care package and appreciation projects. We've helped out Rockwood middle schoolers and elementary schoolers through many educational and mentor programs. We've helped out kids with special needs, and we've cheered the spirits of many hospital patients through various Get Well events. And finally, many drives for food, blood, and clothing have been done to support the needs of people in our community. The key takeaway is that the students here really strive to make our school and city a better place.
As the importance of community service becomes increasingly apparent in our school and local communities, service organizations have taken a proactive and forward-thinking approach. Many of these organizations have already planned volunteer events throughout the rest of the year, and shown here are just a few examples. While service organizations have over 50 events planned between now and the end of the semester, the one that we'd like to highlight is Special Olympics. Members from nearly every service organization come together to help students with special needs feel included, appreciated, and celebrated. This event takes over 5 months of planning and 25% of Marquette student population to support it. It's a huge collective effort with over 270 athletes, ranging from 5 to 21 years old from 18 surrounding schools. Community service is something that we've truly come to love. It has had a profound impact on our lives and the lives of all of us present. At this time, we'd like to highlight the perspectives of other Marquette students on why they believe community service is important and why they enjoy it. There was a video here. If there isn't, are we good to, okay. Well, what would have been a video here? It was a video presented by one of our students, Rihanna Lee, from our digital media class, and it just highlighted the perspectives of some other Marquette students on why they enjoy community service and why they feel it's important. As you've heard from our presentation team, community service is a core component to meeting the Rockwood mission statement to help all students realize their potential. Thank you for your time, and now we'd like to answer any questions that you may have.
Well, I'd like to just make a couple of comments. The first one is, I appreciate the values you're learning in service and in helping other people out. And I can tell you from my own experience, if any of you do go into the service, that value continues there. I can tell you many times as a unit commander, as this, the old man in the outfit, I was helping other people out. We ran food drives for the local community. We did various fundraisers for them, but also it was helping out the soldiers. I can't tell you how many times I sat down and was helping out soldiers, whether it was filling in actually as a cook in the mess hall because somebody was sick and we still had to feed everybody that day, or changing a flat tire, which if anybody knows my mechanical aptitude was a challenge in and of itself. A second lesson I saw that you all had to respond to today is what to do when things don't go as expected. And that will happen a lot in your lives. So be ready for those things. And thank you very much for everything you're doing. We very much appreciate it.
I have one question for each of you. What has been your favorite project that you've been involved with so far?
So I've done a lot of different events. So it's hard to pick just one, but I think Special Olympics, because not only is it just, it's a lot of people from ROTC or other organizations. It's kind of the whole school that volunteers to help out. And it's a big event and it's very fun.
I can answer this too. I'm in several different community service organizations, not just ROTC. And this past year, one that I did that I really enjoyed was a hot cider shuffle. That was through the National Honor Society. That was a ton of fun. Waking up at 4:30, not so much. But we got to help out with a 5K fundraiser, and we handed out hot apple cider and caramel apples to everyone. That was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
This is like my first year in JROTC, but I really liked helping out at the curriculum night with all the 8th graders. It was so much fun. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you all for sharing and for giving of your time so freely.
Okay. I need Dr. Kane just for 1 second to help
Yeah.
with this last little piece. So our cadets have the opportunity to earn badges when they have accomplished different tasks within their program. So following the 2-month research and development of this presentation, they have earned their awareness presentation badge that Dr. Kane will now present them.
All right, next I'd like to introduce Dr. Colgren from LaSalle Springs Middle School to share about some exciting things that are happening in our middle school as well. Completely different things that are happening. So, Dr. Colgren.
Thank you. My name is Chris Colgren. I am the principal of LaSalle Springs Middle School. And at LaSalle Springs, we use academic lab time to support students' academic needs, as well as provide opportunities to enrich their current experiences. It is my pleasure tonight to showcase one way in which that time can be used to not only help students develop skills, but to also foster great community involvement. And so for that, I'm going to introduce Mr. Ryan Giesing so he can talk more about the project he's been working on.
Good evening and thank you, board. Thank you, Dr. Kane. There is handout in front of you. This is the pamphlet that we had at our exhibition night, if you all would like to follow along as we talk. So my name is Ryan Giesing. I teach 8th grade early American history at LaSalle Springs Middle School, my alma mater. And tonight you're going to hear from 3 8th grade students who participated in a museum-styled exhibit creation project where they curated custom displays about the history of Eureka. They used their twice-weekly academic lab time to do this, and partnering with the Eureka Historical Society, and the Missouri Historical Society. These students learned about what it takes to be real museum curators. So I would like to invite our 3 students up tonight, and they've prepared some words for you.
Hello, I'm Tessa, and for 8 weeks we have researched the Rockwood School District's history, but we mainly focused on Eureka High School out of all the schools. After we found some research by doing mood and vision boards, pro and con charts, and gathering artifacts, we then picked our topic, Eureka High School history, and arranged the artifacts and wrote descriptions for each artifact. Lastly, we put all of these things in a big 4-shelf glass display to make it like an exhibit. My favorite part of this is getting to hold the artifacts from decades ago. I also think the most challenging part is finding credible research for our artifacts and descriptions.
Hi, I'm Sahana, and my favorite part of putting this all together was learning about how the different schooling and grading systems was then versus now. I feel like the most difficult part of putting this case together was organizing the case because we had a lot of artifacts and other items that we wanted to be added. Still, we ended up using the ones that would give a general idea of the different topics.
Hi, I'm Maddie, and one of my favorite parts was when we got input from another educated historian. It was eye-opening to be given a whole presentation with the intention of making our displays better. They gave us instruction on how to appropriately and neatly organize the display cases. To be given more than one set of eyes on the displays made the whole thing really pull together. I could also bring these tips into real-life situations, like when you have to organize an essay to topics that flow nicely.
During the time given, we were able to study a lot of the rich history of not only the Rockwood School District, but also Eureka High School. We were able to get a hold of a lot of different artifacts, like 1950s report cards with a different letter grading system, a letterman's jacket that had an NHS pin on it, and multiple years of graduating class photos.
After we did all this research, we then had an open exhibit for anyone and everyone who wanted to come. We were able to efficiently put together the display cases for others to view. With the tips and tricks from the Missouri Historical Society curator provided us, everything pulled together. We were able to play into the idea that the display cases could be interactive. We also thought it'd be wise for the story to be told through the display. Lastly, all the artifacts should be cohesive and aligned with one another. With all these ideas in mind, we were able to create a display that captured all these components in a gratifying and pleasurable manner. We got to show what we did with our display cases and have people look at them, take pictures, and look at the other unique display cases that were done by other students. We also displayed aged yearbooks from other schools in the Rockwood district to show how much Rockwood has evolved throughout the decades. We had the expedition after school and we were able to bring our families and friends to see them.
Just a few closing words about the importance of academic lab time at LaSalle Springs Middle School. One, our academic lab time, it includes extension opportunities. Usually when we have some sort of an academic lab time, this is for students who need extra time or help with math or reading. But what do we do with the students who don't need that extra help? Well, it's a lot better than sending them to the cafeteria or the library. Instead, we're doing something that there's actual meaning to the project. Two, these can easily be linked back to state and national standards. This is where it helps to have a wonderful social studies curriculum coordinator, Jordan McGahee. He was with us from the very beginning of planning, even back in the fall. Three, it allows for student choice. And the student buy-in was really impressive to see kids who were excited to come to academic lab period, excited to bring their friends and family to see the project. We were able to directly link ourselves to two different local organizations. One, the Eureka Historical Society, which very generously gave us all of these objects to use in our curation, and they also fit the bill. These display cases run about $300 a piece, and they got 7 of them for us. So not a dime to the district's wallet. but yet allowed us to work in this project. And the Missouri Historical Society, the big fancy museum down in Forest Park, they sent us a curator for the day to go through and critique these different displays. And then finally, the project ended with something that was tangible, something that the students could see at the end of the day and that they were proud of. And this is a direct link back to the community because these display cases will now be in different local businesses and public institutions in Eureka, including the Eureka Post Office. There'll be one in the Administrative Annex building. There's one in Joe Bacardi's. There's one going in the funeral home. All around Eureka, these 7 display cases now have a home. We'll take any questions either for myself or for the students.
I just want to say how amazing this is. It's an amazing use of the academic lab time. It allows students to really be immersed in history. My kids say history is boring, but being a part of a project like this allows it to be relevant. You get to see it, you get to really be a part of it, but also it allows the students to explore careers that may not seem mainstream, to be a museum curator. That may be something that students may not even have known existed, but because of this, they now have a different path. You love history, and this is how you can bring it to life. So I think that's brilliant.
I appreciate the idea that you are using academic lab for extension activities for students. I think that's extremely important. Kids, how did you like doing this? Thumbs up.
I just want to say, I'd like to echo the comment that this is a great creative use of academic lab time. And I'd actually just like to throw out the thought that I hope we're doing similar things at other middle schools, because this sounds like a great idea. I am also very grateful for one of the few times that I actually didn't go to high school in the area. Otherwise, it would probably be my grade report card from the 1950s you'd have there and my letter jacket. So hopefully none of you find out where I went and dig that up for any museum displays. But thank you very much for doing this. Well done.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you all. All right, next item this evening is superintendent and board comments. Dr. Kane.
Thank you, President Bays. So let's go back to Friday. We don't have to, but I do think that the community is, I think, to just an update of where things stand. I think we all need to just remind ourselves that every winter is different and every weather event is in fact different. I want the community to know that we met with the St. Louis branch of the National Weather Service office on yesterday. And I publicly want to state that the conversation was, I believe, productive. They were very receptive. I think that both sides, so to speak, learned from each other. And there was most definitely a willingness to accept some feedback that we definitely provided. It was a free-flowing, very respectful conversation. I also want everyone to know that we are still in process of revisiting our internal both processes and procedures. We have actually scheduled some meetings with elementary leadership and staff, as well as secondary leadership and staff. And we're going to continue to debrief what went well and what, in fact, we most definitely need to improve upon. We are working to be as prepared as possible. We never know what Mother Nature is going to present. And I think it's important that we also work to deepen our toolbox so that we are able to respond as quickly and as appropriately as we need to. So for the Rockwood School District, that's going to include us revisiting our emergency dismissals, specifically our processes as it relates to them. And I want to take this slowly, and I want everyone to hear the verbiage when it comes to this. We will also consider the feasibility of emergency delays or late starts. Again, we don't know what is happening. We don't always know what is going to happen, and we just want to be in a position where we can respond as appropriately as we, in fact, need to do so. There is always going to be room for improvement, but I do want to thank everyone who went well above and beyond. I can't tell you the number of emails and anecdotes that I have heard of people just assisting others, whether it's cleaning cars off, just helping each other, messaging messages back and forth from the offices to classrooms, whatever it took. This district, so many in this district stood up and did exactly what was necessary, and it is greatly appreciated. And I also appreciate the feedback that has been provided as well. I will promise you this, as a result of all of this, we are going to be better on the other side of it. With that, I want to transition to some announcements as relates to what just happened earlier this evening. Earlier tonight, the Rockwood Board of Education approved the hire of 2 new additions to our administrative team. Dr. Paul Godwin as our new Assistant Superintendent for the Supervision of Elementary Education, and Colin Overby will be a new administrative intern at Kellison Elementary School. Both of these gentlemen will begin their new roles on July 1. Paul replaces Dr. Dave Cobb, who is retiring at the end of the school year, and Colin replaces Natasha Fisher, who has accepted a new role as assistant principal at Lafayette High School starting next year. Paul has been principal at Green Pines Elementary School since 2011 and has served as assistant principal at Babler Elementary School for 2 years before that. During his time at Green Pines, the school received recognition as both a state and national school of character. His teaching experiences include 2 years at Curtis Mill and a year at Chesterfield Elementary School. Paul is currently Vice President of the Missouri Association of Elementary and Middle School Principals and is an executive board member of the St. Louis Suburban Elementary Principals Association. And he has served as president from 2019 through 2021. In 2019, he was named the MAESP/SLSEPA Regional Distinguished Principal. Paul earned a Bachelor's of Arts in Elementary Education from Harris-Stowe University and both a Master's of Science in Educational Administration and a Doctorate of Educational Leadership from Lindenwood University. Colin currently teaches 5th grade at Babler Elementary, where he started his teaching career back in 2018. He also has experience in Rockwood as a substitute teacher, a student teacher, and as an assistant swim coach for the Rockwood Swim Club. Colin was named an Outstanding Beginning Teacher in Babler back in 2018, Teacher of the Year for 2023 and 2024, and has also been a Rose Award nominee. He has also participated in the Ignite Rockwood program for aspiring administrators. This was back in 2021, 2022, and will be serving as an assistant principal in the Summer Academy this year. Colin earned a Bachelor's of Arts in Elementary Education from Lindenwood University and a Master's of Science in Educational Administration from Southwest Baptist University. Please join me in congratulating Paul and Colin on their new roles in the Rockwood School District. February is Black History Month, and schools across the Rockwood School District are celebrating influential African-American leaders in a variety of ways, including trivia, segments on the morning announcements, and biographical displays in our hallways. At Westridge Elementary School last week, the school's 5th graders took part in a virtual tour of General Daniel Chappie James Museum. This is actually located in Pensacola, Florida, during which they learned about General James's accomplishments as a fighter pilot and the first African American to reach the rank of 4-star general. Please visit our district website, that's rsd.mo.org, and our social media channels to see more about how our schools are honoring Black History Month. All 4 of our Rockwood High Schools have chosen their Glory of Missouri Award recipients for 2024. The award recognizes 14 seniors from each school, and they represent one of the values that make up the Glory of Missouri. And those are engraved in the Missouri House of Representatives chamber. The virtues are knowledge, liberty, equality, law, justice, fraternity, education, progress, honor, truth, virtue, temperance, enterprise, and charity. These 56 students will be recognized by the House of Representatives at the Missouri State Capitol in Jefferson City on Monday. Congratulations to this year's Glory of Missouri Award recipients, and I want to commend you, each of you, on being outstanding examples and reflections of your schools and your communities. Let's give them a round of applause. And finally, this evening, I would like to take a moment to recognize a very, very important member of the Rockwood community. Tonight is President Jamie Bays' final full Rockwood Board of Education meeting as a board member. Jamie has served 3 full terms on the board, 9 years, and has been board president for 3 years. Before her time on the Board of Education, she was an extremely active member of this community. Very active in her children's schools in terms of their communities as a PTO co-president, the vice president of Caring Schools Community, co-vice president of the President's Forum, Girls on the Run coach, and serving in many other committees and forums in her children's school, as well as in this district. As a board member, she helped to form the Rockwood Gives Back program, and this program is absolutely dedicated toward providing aid to district families in need, and she helped to launch the Giving Place. She, in fact, launched the Giving Place Donation Center, as well as serving as an outstanding representative of the Rockwood Board of Education and our community in countless other capacities. I would personally like to thank Jamie for all of her guidance and support that she has provided me in my 2 years in the Rockwood School District. I'm not sure people understand how frequently the president of the Board of Education and the superintendent have to talk, especially in a district as, let's just say, busy as the Rockwood School District. I know that Jamie will continue to be a valuable voice in our community for years to come. President Bays, Jamie Bays, thank you for everything.
Official. Speech.
Anything else, Dr. Kane?
That's all from me. Thank you.
Any board comments this evening?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Dr. Carrie Bacher cannot be here tonight, but she phoned it in. Well, she didn't phone it in, she wrote it in, asking me to read this. Carrie says, "Thank you, Jamie, for your time and dedication to the Rockwood School District. From your involvement at Utah Valley PTO to Rockwood Gives Back to Rockwood School Board, you have tirelessly put students first in all the decisions you have made for the district. In trying times, you held our district together to move forward in a positive direction. I just want you to know how much I appreciate your calm manner, grace, and leadership throughout your tenure. As Mr. Rogers so eloquently said, often when you think you are at the end of something, you're at the beginning of something else. I cannot wait to see what your next adventures will be. You will be missed greatly. Thanks, Carrie." I also prepared something. It's not as good as Carrie's, but it's from my heart, and we'll have many other conversations. It has been my honor to serve with Jamie on the board for almost 8 years. During that time, Jamie provided kindness, loyalty, and leadership in guiding the district during some difficult times. Jamie always advocates for our students, families, and communities. As she moves forward to a new chapter in her life, I wish her the best of everything. I have no doubt that she will continue to work to ensure all the children are well. Anyone else?
I have nothing prepared except for my heart. So this, Jamie, you have led with a servant heart. You've been a true leader and one to model and follow. Thank you so much for everything you've done, sharing your time and talent and your family with us. Thank you.
As one of the more junior members of the board, at least time-wise anyway, I did make a few comments here. When Jamie joined the board, Barack Obama was president, Jay Nixon was our governor, and Eric Kanosh was our superintendent. If you think back on that a little bit, that means her tenure has seen 3 presidents, 3 governors, and 4 superintendents of this school. Doing a little more digging, I discovered that over the last 30 years, we have had 45 current or former board members, and only 4 of those have served longer than Jamie. And only one of those, Dr. Kinder, also served during that time we now refer to as COVID. Thank you, Jamie, for your service, for your perseverance, and for your dedication to do whatever it takes to ensure all students realize their potential. You epitomize that motto for both this board and the district. May the wind always be at your back, because our hearts will always be with you.
Oh.
Now you make me follow that. Thanks. So I didn't write it down because I'm gonna speak from my heart, but Jamie also taught me how to be careful with my words, so here we go. This has been a wild ride for us, and you know, we've really been through the mud together, and we've grown so close as a board. You and I, on a professional and a personal level, have gone through a deep journey. I mean, to the point to now we just share little looks at each other, and we know what each other is thinking. Your leadership is amazing. The way you support us, the things that you do. I don't know when you sleep, but I know that you will in upcoming months. This board won't be the same without you sitting in that seat. You will be missed greatly. It's hard to verbalize how we feel about you sitting in that seat. It's so different being on the other side of the aisle and actually seeing what happens behind the scenes and the load that you carry and how you do it with such grace. You come out here and you make it happen. Whoever has to take your place, I'm sorry for them. But we appreciate you, and we look forward to continuing to check in and everything. We know Rockwood, you live in Rockwood, so thank you for what you've done, and we adore you.
Well, I looked at my calendar earlier and thought I had one more board meeting, and this feels very final, so that's really weird. Completely unexpected outpouring of love tonight. Even though I sit in this seat, I strongly do not like being the center of attention, and sincerely and genuinely appreciate. I am intentionally not looking out here tonight. And I made the mistake of looking backwards for just a second when that amazing photo reel was playing. But when you sign up to be on the Board of Education, nobody knows what they're signing up for. I can 100% tell you that. And you think you do, and you learn a lot. And I have learned a ton in my years on this board. And primarily, I have learned a lot from those who've served before me. And I just not going to sit here and name any names because I would be here for a long time. But there have been some amazing people who have sat at this table and have served this district. And I am honored to sit in seats that have carried that load before. So my family clearly has sacrificed a lot over the last years. So to close this out with pictures of the 2 that graduated and the opportunity to hear from our 5th grader is outstanding. I I guess, written a better script. So I really, really appreciate everything that you all have done to support me. And I am excited about the growth that this current board has undertaken together, as well as the future of the cabinet, the teachers, the staff. They're amazing people in this district. And it's because of all of you that our students are so successful. And tonight's importance to me began this evening with our very first student advisory group at 5 o'clock, which is something we've talked about doing for years. And it is finally feeling like the right time to do something like that. So to sit in a room for an hour with students who are giving of their time, though we did learn many of them are doing it to build their resume, but that's smart. It's very smart.
They were honest.
They were honest, and we learned a lot from them, and they're incredible, incredible students that are thriving because of the work that our staff put into their education and their well-being. And so that to me is the most important thing that continues to happen is the growth, both for this board and also for this district. And I cannot imagine a better person to be leading all of that than Dr. Kane. And so I am really excited for the future here. Yes, there have been 4 superintendents, Bob. That was a really interesting and holy cow, I think I might have gotten some gray hairs from that, but interesting journey down a path. But Dr. Kane, you are a wonderful leader. It's been an honor to serve next to you for the last 2 years. So thank you all. And we definitely have more business to get to this evening, so we'll transition to that, but I don't know, I don't want to cut off any other board comments that are not related, so if anybody has anything else, yeah, for consent. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Tammy, do you want to highlight?
Yeah.
Okay. Public gifts. There you go.
I just want to acknowledge our public gifts this evening. We have a number of gifts, and I don't have my mic screen. But we have the Falcon football boosters, the VJ Mancuso Memorial Fund, the Rockwood Summit PTO, and Chesterfield Elementary PTO. All of these have raised funds to help support our schools and to contribute to the growth and well-being of our students. So thank you from the community for always giving back to our schools.
Thank you. So that motion is to approve the consent agenda items as submitted. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes. Next item on the agenda this evening, let me find where we are at with that, is could I please have a motion to approve that the Board of Education proclaims the month of March as Social Work Month, and specifically the week of March 3 through 9, 2024 as Social Work Week in the Rockwood School District.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, and Jacqueline Floyd is coming up to join us, and we do have a proclamation this evening. Would you like the proclamation first? I am honored to read it this evening. Thank you. I always love the opportunity to read this one as I get the amazing opportunity to work with our social workers at the Giving Place and through Rockwood Gives Back. And so this is always super special to me to see firsthand what is done to serve our students and families. So, School Social Work Week Proclamation, Pearls of Wisdom. Whereas the importance of school social work through the inclusion of school social work programs and services has been recognized in the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965 and the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Whereas school social workers are exceptionally skilled in providing services to students who face serious challenges to school success, including disability, poverty, discrimination, abuse, neglect, mental illness, homelessness, bullying, familial stressors, and other barriers to learning. Whereas school social workers are needed more now than at any time in recent memory, as more students are struggling with mental and behavioral health disorders, with nearly 1 in 6 children from 2 to 8 years old, 17.4%, having a diagnosed mental, behavioral, or developmental disorder. Whereas individuals who wish to access community mental health services often find such services unavailable, inaccessible, or inadequate. Whereas school-based mental health programs are critical to early identification of and early intervention for mental health problems. Whereas school social workers, being licensed mental health professionals in schools in the United States, provide necessary assessment, interventions, counseling, family outreach, and community referrals. Whereas school mental health programs are critical to the early identification of mental health problems and in the provision of appropriate services when needed. Whereas school social workers maintain knowledge of school culture and school climate, which are necessary for responsible school safety planning. Whereas fewer than 1 in 5 children in need of mental health services actually receive these services, and research indicates that school mental health programs improve educational outcomes by decreasing absences, dropout rates, and discipline referrals while improving academic achievement. Whereas school social workers serve as vital members of a school's education team, playing a central role in creating partnerships between the home, school, and community to ensure student academic success. And now, therefore, in recognition of the vital role school social workers play in the lives of our students, we, the Rockwood Board of Education, proclaim School Social Work Week during the week beginning March 3rd. Yay!
A quick thing because, following all of that, I appreciate, Jamie, that you are reading the proclamation. I love all the work that you have done with, supporting the social work program. So thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to say a little something and then answer any questions that you guys might have. So thank you to start with to start. Thank you for recognizing School Social Work Week within Rockwood School District. I just want to acknowledge the important role that social workers play. And when you guys read this proclamation, that really shows the appreciation that you have in valuing the department as a whole. Social workers play not only a vital role in educating our students, but also in addressing the challenges that students face beyond academics. So helping them be able to address some of those basic needs that they have in order to be successful and do well in school. So thank you. I do want to give a shout out. We have some social workers that came today to thank the board for reading the proclamation and recognizing School Social Work Week. So I wanted to highlight them. And then I also like to just give you guys a rundown of what our department looks like right now. So we are a fully staffed team, which is so exciting. We have 16 school social workers. So what that looks like is we have 2 at the early childhood, 4 that cover our 19 elementary schools, and then we have 1 full-time in each of our middle schools and 1 full-time in each of our high schools. So that makes up our 16. For our 4 elementary social workers, they're divided into quadrants. 3 of them have 5 schools and 1 has 4. You can kind of see how that breaks down. We also have 6 social emotional behavior specialists. They are all social workers. 2 of those are at Pathways Wellness Center, and they support our students that attend Pathways. And then the other 4 are full-time in our high schools, and they support our high school students. And I do not want to leave out, although they are not under my purview, I love them, the 7 SPED social workers that we have for Rockwood School District. Our SPED social workers are those that support students that have IEP minutes, social work minutes on their IEP. So we have 7 within Rockwood School District. And even though they are not like under me, so to speak, or on my team, they show up anytime I need crisis response. They are there and they are supporting our kids in every way that they can. So they are greatly appreciated and I don't want to leave them out. Do you guys have any questions? No?
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
I've got
You have a question?
a question. So I appreciate the fact that you're fully staffed. It's not too often we hear that.
Yeah.
What can we do better? What can we do better for this particular area? Realizing, of course, that the country as a whole and Rockwood in particular have done much better. When I went to school, other than just being at the time we were transferring from papyrus to paper, we didn't have any social workers in any of the buildings. Here to find out we've got so many, this is fantastic because this is something that we need to address. If a student isn't positioned internally to learn, they're not going to learn.
Right.
And our job is to help them learn. So I think you're part of the fundamental support for the school. So what do you see that we can do better?
Well, I think first and foremost, the answer to that is complicated because I think it's within a system that there are a lot of moving parts that aren't just us, that isn't just the school. So I think the easy answer for me to give you is more. You know, I would love another elementary social worker. If you want to give me some more, you know. But I digress.
You're closer to Cindy than I am, so.
I know. Yeah, those are not my social workers. I'm just kidding. Please clap. But so I think that's part of it. But at the base, I think doing things like this, having conversations like this, reading proclamations like that, really bringing out what mental health struggles are. I think a lot of times within, Rockwood School District, we might think that, we have students that are doing really well because we achieve these really high academic standards, and we have students that get, they're 36 on their ACTs and all that great stuff. And I think sometimes what that means is we don't recognize that all of our kids can be struggling. And so even our kids that are high academic earning or whatever that could look like, just because we do well in that area doesn't mean we don't need more in that area. So does that answer your question?
Certainly. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Okay, here's the motion again. The motion is to approve that the Board of Education proclaims the month of March as Social Work Month, and specifically the week of March 3 through 9, 2024 as Social Work Week in the Rockwood School District. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes. Our next item is information only, Rockwood Parents as Teachers, a presentation for us about this program, and Stephanie Kane is coming up to join us. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. I appreciate you giving me your time this evening as I give our annual report on the Parents as Teachers program here in Rockwood. I'll quickly review our program goals and then share how we're achieving those through the 4 components of our program. As a reminder, we have 4 goals, and I would, if you could take a moment to review those. We strive to achieve these through the 4 components of our program: personal home visits, developmental screenings, group connections, and a resource network. I'm going to briefly update you on the 4 components of our program. We often refer to our home visits, personal visits as home visits, but that can be a little misleading because while most of our visits do happen in the home, they can also, and that is the child's learning environment, and we love that. They can also take place in the library, in the park, at our early childhood centers, over Google Meet, or even over the phone. We work very hard to ensure we're meeting the needs of each of our families. As of February 13th, we have made 5,033 visits to 1,128 families here in Rockwood this program year. As you may recall, we had a significant increase in the Parents as Teachers funding this past year, an increase of 62%. And as a result, we were able to hire 7 additional parent educators. Thank you so much for that. 2 of those parent educators are fluent in Spanish, and we've been therefore able to serve more Spanish-speaking families. And a large area of focus has been on spreading the word about our program, as we do have the capacity to take more families. We have really increased our recruitment efforts. So we made a new recruitment flyer, and we've been sharing that throughout the district, both in physical locations, as well as digitally using Peachjar and social media. I also presented in the fall to all of our elementary principals, and they're now putting it in their newsletters and helping us spread the word. We've also added a checkbox in Infinite Campus. So now when a new family enrolls their program in a K-12 building, there's a checkbox where they can indicate that they have a child under the age of 5 and they're interested in learning more about our early childhood programs. As of this morning, we then developed a newsletter and we are emailing that to families who check that box. And so as of this morning, we were able to send it out to 158 families. So we're hoping to see an increase in enrollment through that. We also continue to partner with outside agencies and organizations to spread the word about parents as teachers. I anticipate that by the end of this program year, we will have increased the number of families we are serving and the number of home visits that we've made by 25%. The second part of our program is developmental screenings. Our screening nurses have completed 318 health, hearing, and vision screenings to date to our birth to 3 population. We've screened 593 children who are 3 and up, and we're in the midst of our kindergarten screenings. The numbers in pink show the increase from this time at last year. The third component of our program is group connections. And through these, families are able to learn information about child development and parenting topics. They're able to connect with other parents who are same age children and going through the same struggles. And they are able to engage in hands-on fun learning play experiences with their children. We partner with other organizations and programs, and this year we have increased the number of group connections that we have had. One I want to highlight, we partnered with 7 other school districts, and we are leading a series, and it's 8 sessions. Each session is an hour, and it's called Connection Before Correction. And each district leads a session. We led ours in November, and it's focusing on conscious discipline and specifically, which is focused on brain development and social emotional development in young children. We've had a wonderful response, and through the 8 school districts, we've reached over 600 families that are participating in that. I mentioned earlier that we are really focused on recruitment. Well, group connections are a way for us to recruit new families. Earlier this month, for example, we hosted a baby fair. I promoted it through Peachjar and social media, and we had several expectant families attend who were not yet in our program, and they are now enrolled. And just before I came here today, we were hosting Crazy Crawlers, Wacky Walkers for our 6 to 18-month-olds, and a brand new family showed up to that, and we've got them enrolled, and they're ready to begin too. The fourth component of our program is a resource network. We work to connect families to resources within our community that they may need. And you may also remember a few years ago, Rockwood Parents as Teachers was asked to be a community leader along with United for Children. And we worked to bring together early childhood programming for our region of St. Louis City and St. Louis County. One of our tasks was to develop a resource directory and submit that to DESE's Office of Childhood. Well, at the end of January, they released this new website, mofamilyresources.findhelp.com, and it pulls together all of the resources in Missouri. It's very user-friendly, easy to use, and they're constantly updating it, and it's exciting because we played a role in that resource network. And actually, we were on a visit just this afternoon, and a family was really struggling with some housing issues, and we were able to pull this up. You type in her zip code, and she's now got some great resources headed her way. I'm very, very excited about the growth of the Parents as Teachers program here in Rockwood, and very proud of the hard work and determination of each and every parent educator here in Rockwood to meet the unique needs of the over 1,600 children that are currently enrolled in Rockwood Parents as Teachers. I want to thank our administration and the board for all of your support, and I would love for you to join us on one of our home visits or pop in for a screening or join us at a group connection. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions or comments? You bet.
I'll just comment that my first exposure to Parents as Teachers was 28 years ago with my own child. And it's a wonderful organization. I can't say enough for what you do. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you. Fantastic.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
All right, next, could I have a motion to approve the review of policy 1820 wellness?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Looks like Dr. Steve Hankins is coming up to talk to us about this pin.
Good evening. During our last DESE audit, they looked at our wellness policy and recommended some corrective actions. So that's why we want to take a look at it and get compliance with what they're asking us to do. If you look at the policy itself, a lot of the corrective action, if you go back and look at our regulation, it is really taking what was in our regulation and put it in our policy. So it's really based on preference on where DESE would like to see that information.
That was actually going to be my question is this really just following or aligning us to DESE's rules, or are we actually changing something downstream?
It's really getting into line with it, how they'd like to see our policy look.
Everything was there. We just had to shift it so it meets their criteria.
That's correct. And that really came down to the person who audited us. Again, that was the recommendation that they'd like to see it in our policy and get it out of our regulation.
Okay, any other questions?
This is a first read, is that correct?
Yep. All right, so that motion is to approve the review of policy 1820 wellness. It's actually just approving the review of it. It's not even a first reading yet. Yeah. So again, motion to approve the review of policy 1820 wellness.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Sorry, we've already done that. All those in favor, please say aye. Let's get that motion 4 times. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes. Thank you. Okay, and the last main item on the agenda this evening is a legislative update. This topic was added because there have been a couple different conversations going on among certain groups that our board is involved with, such as MSBA, our St. Louis County PLC, Ed Plus, and so the timing of this just felt right to put on the agenda to start a conversation as a board to just see what direction this board kind of may or may not want to go with this. So just as a recap, our 2023 legislative platform is in front of you all, has been on our website for the last year. This is put together when we have our legislative breakfast, which is coming up on March 8th. So what you should expect soon, probably next week, will be the 2024 legislative platform. And so the timing of this meeting just meant that we could begin the conversation and see where this board wanted to go. We've been invited by the president at Ladue Ladue School District to include our logo on some materials that St. Louis County PLC was putting together. I responded back to her and just let her know that needed to be a board conversation. So that's why we're kind of opening this up. Another option, if we wanted to entertain something, there are some districts that are doing their own resolutions. If we felt like that was a path that we wanted to take, we could discuss that. Just a reminder, the way our meetings are structured is our next meeting is in March. It's our only March meeting. It is board awards, so we won't have open agenda items that evening per se. After that, you will be swearing in a new board, at least one new board member. Typically, that meeting date isn't heavy with new conversation and material. It's just getting people acclimated to each other. So that would push into the last week, the last meeting in April, which is right before the legislative session closes. So that's a lot of explaining for me as to why this is on the agenda. Again, it needs to be just a public conversation about it. We don't have to do anything as a board other than have conversation about it. And you may want to consider putting it on here in some kind of a structured way so that it's maybe a quarterly conversation or biannual or something like that. And then the last option I would throw out there is that when the 2024 legislative platform comes out next week, one opportunity would be to consider putting that on the March 7th agenda for approval. We have done that a couple of times in the past. As a board, we always try to be consistent. So again, I would say whatever this board decides to do, you try to be consistent with going forward. And that would be the day before the legislative breakfast. So I've talked a lot. I'm going to open this up to you all for conversation. The one that is getting the most conversation right now is about open enrollment. I don't know if we want to specifically talk about that or just kind of look in general about how we've looked at this from 2023, knowing that something similar is likely to show up next week for 2024.
If I could speak for just a moment. Oops. This came out of the St. Louis PLC board group, their advocacy committee. And their intent was to get a stronger voice in Jeff City so that public education could stand up and say, we are opposed to legislature that is close to being passed. So the idea was to have us just come together and have joint voice. Whether or not we write our own resolution or not, we need to have our voice heard in Jeff City. So that was the intent behind the process. And MSBA does an excellent job of keeping all board members. We receive a weekly legislative update of all the bills that are affecting public education. And Missouri Retired Teachers does the same thing. So there's lots of information coming to the board members to keep us informed.
Yeah, I'll throw out a couple of comments if I could. First, just a thought for us to consider. I think we should do things consistently, but maybe sometimes we should also take a look at where can we make an incremental improvement. So I would just throw out the thought to all of us that maybe we should be looking at these things before the legislative breakfast so that we're telling the legislators this is our view, not after they've told us theirs. All right, just something for us generically to think about. I think Jamie, you passed out the information from the Ladue proposal. To me, that was overly broad. It was just too all-encompassing that it felt like, as I read it, we're against everything the legislature's doing and they're not doing anything right. I'd personally prefer, if we want to say something, that we have a Rockwood-specific piece, much like we did last year, where we're addressing these are the principles and the concerns we have. As an example, to make that specific, there's a lot of reasons the legislature might or might not do something on open enrollment, but provided they leave control at the local level where the school board has the authority to approve those things, those might be palatable for us. Or if both gives us the control and gives us the funding. So personally, I'm against jumping onto Ladue's bandwagon, but I'd certainly be willing to look at our own statement of principles.
And I just want to clarify too, I think that when we received that email, it was coming from somebody who was representing the PLC.
Correct.
It's not necessarily Ladue saying that. She just happens to be connected with Ladue. So I just want to make sure that that point is clear. And the other point is, to me, it was just, I agree it was broad, but the statement was we support public education. So clearly, my sincere hope is that board members serving on this school board support public education. And so to me, it felt like, okay, but again, I agree, it was broad. So is there something more specific we want to do within Rockwood? Any other thoughts down here?
Well, I think Bob was saying this as well, but I think it's important that we become very well educated in what is happening in Jefferson City, really study it through a couple different lenses, and make sure that we can share resources among us and have consistent information. The legislative breakfast is is a good opportunity for that. But I also, and I think this is what Bob said, that we need to walk in that room knowing what's happening rather than having them tell us.
Absolutely.
If I may add, the pace of the session quickens the deeper we get into spring of 2024. So us having the board having a very firm understanding of, what is being discussed, what's potentially, on the table for decision-making is fine, but omnibus bills, there are all types of ways in which language is actually embedded in a piece of legislation that doesn't directly align with, the intent or the kind of the header of a particular piece of legislation. So it is a very volatile and swift-moving reality when the spring hits. So that breakfast is a good opportunity for us to level set where things stand literally just before spring break. And quite honestly, the pace just quickens at that point. So some degree of flexibility may be required and really important in this case.
And I understand that. And I think we need to be agile enough that we can move quickly if we need to. So start doing our homework like today.
And MSBA does do a fantastic job of sending out that information. So I know it takes a lot to sit down and really learn it and study it and go through it, but it is all there. Am I hearing that we want to go in any specific direction with any of this at this point, or?
I think that this really calls for a deeper dive of all of us into the legislative issues before we can say this is where we're going.
Yeah. Okay.
That would be my thought.
Sounds like what I'm hearing from others. Yeah.
I concur.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Sounds good. We will wrap up that informational discussion and see where it takes us. Thank you all. Next item is our proposed agenda for the March 7th Board of Education meeting. And as we have done consistently with our board award evenings, as this one is back here at Marquette High School, we typically remove some of the items from our agenda just to keep the focus that evening on the awards and accomplishments of our students and staff. So could I have a motion to remove patron, superintendent, and board comments from the March 7th, 2024 Board of Education meeting agenda to accommodate for the board awards presentation?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? That passes. All right, last item this evening is our future agenda presentations and events to attend. And as you all know, spring is busy, busy, busy in schools and districts. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of things on here that are on your Google Calendars. There are things coming up, so please make sure to mark and update your attendance at these. And then I just wanted to throw a couple of other points out that have come up recently. So the National School Board Association Conference is something that years ago we have not ever attended, but we started just kind of adding to the calendar and considering, and no one has ever done it. It is coming up in just a few weeks. I would say just a couple of things about that is that I think it's a great practice, and you all do this however you want, but I think it's a great practice for if a board has decided to attend a conference like that, which are not in the state usually, that maybe you go in pairs or with a group. It'd be a good idea just to have information viewed from a variety of people and then brought back from a variety of people, and it's also a safety concern. And then because those conferences that are out of state are more costly, I would suggest that we're trying to get an RSVP in for those things as soon as possible, because we would want to take advantage of early bird or hotel accommodations and things like that. So just wanted to throw that out there because there may be some interest at some point. And as a reminder, MSBA is not affiliated or a member of NSBA. So just again, however you may want to tackle that going forward, you can do so. Let me see here. And I think that wraps it up. So the next several years of that are on the calendar now. If you guys wanted to talk about that as a growth opportunity for your board, you can certainly do that. Just wanted to throw that out there. And the rest of this we will keep up with on our calendars. So with that, we will adjourn the meeting.